Hello, this is Dee and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate your support. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please remember to subscribe and let me know what you think of this tutorial. Today we're making this beautiful top. It's very colorful. I really love how it turned out. I used only 2 skeins of yarn, so you don't really need to buy a whole lot of yarn to make this top. It's pretty simple, and I'll be taking you through step by step on how I made it, and then you can go ahead and make it for yourself or for your loved ones. Please remember to subscribe once again, and let's dive into the tutorial. To get started, you're going to make a slip knot, and then you're going to make a chain long enough to go around your bust. I'm making a size large, so I'm going to make a chain of 120. So you may need to make more chains or less depending on how big your bust is. So I'll go ahead and chain my 120, and I will be back here shortly. All right, I'm back with my chain of 120. It is super long, so I'm going to double it and show you guys the measurements. Okay, so we're not going to stretch it, and as you can see, it is 18 inches when doubled, so that means, rather it's 17, I'm sorry, it's 17 inches, okay, when doubled. So that means the whole length of the chain. I'll show you. So the whole length of the chain is 34. We're not stretched, we're not going to stretch it, okay? So my chain is 34 inches long. So after that, we are going to start working in rounds, so make sure your chain is not twisted, and then you're going to slip stitch in this first chain that you made right there, and then you're going to pull through all like that. Now we have this big circle. You're going to chain up 2. This is not going to count as a stitch, so you're going to yarn over. I like to work in the back loops of my chain, so you can see I like to work, like turn your chain around. I'm going to work through these back bumps. Hope you see them. So I'm going to turn my chain like so, and I'm going to make a double crochet, into the next chain, and I'm going to make 1 double crochet in every chain until I get to the end of the round. When you get to the end of the row, you're going to make a stitch right in that stitch where the chain is coming out of. It's a bit tight. So insert your hook in that space and make a double crochet. Then you're going to slip stitch on top of the first double crochet to complete the row. You should have this. So the second row is going to be a front and back post double crochet. So you're going to chain 2, then yarn over, and in this first double crochet you're going to chain 2, yarn over, and you're going to make a front post double crochet. Insert your hook under the stitch and pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Next you're going to make a back post double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook from the back, and then push that next stitch to the back, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Make a front post, yarn over, insert your hook under the next stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way until you get to the end of the round, making a front post and a back post double crochet. Once you get to the end of the row, you're going to slip stitch on top of this first front post double crochet. So insert your hook and slip stitch. And this is what you should be having. So the third row, you're going to chain 2, yarn over, and you're going to make a front post, because this is a front post from previous row. So make sure you make a front post, then yarn over and make a back post double crochet, because the stitch from the previous row is a back post double crochet. And you're going to repeat that, making a front post and a back post double crochet until you get to the end of the round. I'm at the end of my third row, and I'm going to slip stitch on top of this first front post double crochet to complete the row. And this is how your work should be looking. So for the last 2 rows, we've been making front and back post double crochet, and we have a total of 3 rows right now. So our 4th row is going to be a little different, and it's what we're going to repeat until we have enough coverage for the bust part, like right from under your bust to where your breasts start from. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, row 4, you're going to chain 2, yarn over, and then you're going to make a front post double crochet. Then the next stitch where we would make a back post, we're not going to do that. We're going to yarn over and make a normal double crochet like that. Then yarn over, make a front post where we made a front post from the previous row like that. Then yarn over and make a normal double crochet, then make a front post like that, then make a normal double crochet. And you're going to keep alternating between those 2 stitches, a front post and a normal double crochet. a front post and a normal double crochet. I'll keep going until I get to the end of the row. Alright, I'm at the end of my row 4 and I'm going to make my last stitch right here. And then I'm going to slip stitch right on top of the first front post. This is what I have. Row 5, we're going to repeat row 4. Chain 2, yarn over, and you're going to make a front post. Yarn over and make a normal double crochet on top of the next stitch. Yarn over, make a front post. Yarn over, make a normal double crochet from the previous row, and you're going to repeat that. Make a front post, make a double crochet right on top of the next. So you're going to repeat that. When you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch, and then you're going to repeat with the same pattern until you have enough coverage for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the pattern, then I'll be back once I have enough rows for my coverage. So I'm back, guys, and I have a total of 20 rows here. From the beginning to where we are now, I have a total of 20 rows, and so far it measures about 8 inches. Okay, so now we're going to work on the mesh pattern, and to do that we're going to, this is where our stitch markers are going to come in. You're going to place your work flat like this, and then you're going to mark where the sides are. So for me, this was my starting point, so this is going to be one of the sides where the armhole is going to start. So I'm going to mark this side as well. I'll put my stitch marker right here. All right, so now that we have marked, well, this can be right here, but I'm using this as my marker. So the next thing we're going to do is work from this point to the next stitch marker. We won't be working in rounds. So I'm going to put my hook back. If you have to, you can count your stitch. If you want to, you can count your stitches to make sure that everything is even, but it really doesn't matter if you have more stitches at the back or if you have more stitches at the front. Everything will turn out right at the end of it. Like, I mean, no one is gonna know. So I'm going to chain 2 to start our next row. Chain 2, yarn over, and on top of that, very where you slip stitched into, you're going to make a double crochet. I'm sorry, at this point we're going to be chaining 1. So chain 1 and make a double crochet into that same stitch like so. Chain 1, yarn over, and on top of the next front post double crochet, you're going to make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip the next stitch and make a double crochet on top of the next double crochet, which is a front post from the previous row. chain 1, skip the next double crochet and make a double crochet on top of the next double crochet, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the stitch mark. I'm keeping my stitches like as loose as possible. I'm not trying to make them too tight. I have one stitch left to skip, and I'm going to place a double crochet in the stitch that I marked. So right there where I have the stitch marker, I'm going to make a double crochet, chain 2, and then I'm going to turn my work from here. Yarn over, and on top of that first stitch where we have the chain 2, we're going to place a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, and you're going to repeat with the pattern until you get to the end. When you get to the end of the row, you're going to chain 1 and double crochet on top of that first double crochet, like that. Chain 2, turn your work. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so you're going to yarn over, and on top of that first stitch you're going to make a double crochet, like that. Chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet, and you're going to repeat that pattern back and forth until you have enough coverage for your back. So what we're doing is this part, the mesh pattern is going to cover the part from your, from your breasts, from where your breast stops at, from this point all the way to the neck part. When you get to the end, double crochet on top of the last stitch, chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to repeat those 2 rows until you have enough coverage for the back. So double crochet on top of that first stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next. I'll be back once I'm done with this part, and then I'll show you guys what to do next. Okay. Before I forget, while working on this mesh pattern, we are considering the armholes. Okay, so we're creating the armholes, so make sure you make it longer until you have enough space for the armholes. So I'm back, and I have a total of 12 rows made for the mesh part. That's 12 rows, and it measures about 8 inches. So remember, while making that back part or front part, because they are identical, we are also considering the armholes. So make sure that you leave enough space for your arm as well. So once we are done here, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to cut off the yarn and reattach it on this other side, because we're going to repeat the same thing. So right here where we have the stitch marker, we're going to reattach our yarn, and then we're going to repeat the same pattern we just completed. So make a slip knot, remove the stitch marker and insert your hook. In that same stitch where we had, the stitch from the other side of the top, or where we had the stitch marker. Then you're going to chain 2, and into that same space you're going to insert your hook and make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and on top of the next make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and on top of the next you're going to make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and on top of the next make a double crochet, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the other side. I'm at the end and I have 3 stitches left, so I'm going to insert my hook, pull up a loop. I'll have 3 loops on my hook, pull through 2, then yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 3. So I have turned the 2 stitches into 1. You don't have to do that if yours add up very well, okay? So next I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work. And then on top of that same stitch, I'm going to make a double crochet. Chain 1, double crochet on top of the next. Chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch. Chain 1, and you're going to repeat until you get to the end of the row. After making that row, you're going to chain 2 and repeat that same row that we just completed, and you're going to make the same number of rows you made for the first panel. So for me, I'm going to make 12. So I'm back, and this is what I have. I'm done making my mesh pattern for this bottom part, and I have a total of 12 rows for just starting from here where we started the mesh all the way to the top. I have 12 rows of mesh. So now we're going to join the shoulder part. But before that, I want to quickly show you guys how wide this is. It's about 14 inches wide. I'm sorry. Yeah, around about 14 and a half. Yeah. So once you are done with both panels, we're going to join here, and I'm only going to join about 1 to 3 stitches. So I still have my yarn attached, and we have to join this from the wrong side, so turn your work wrong side outside. So we're now going to join here. So I'm going to insert my hook into this first stitch right here, then pull through all. Then I'm going to go back into that same space for both sides, and I'm going to make, and I'm going to make a slip stitch like that. Insert your hook into the next stitch, make a slip stitch into the next one, that's the third stitch, make a slip stitch, then chain one, get your scissors, cut off the yarn. So there we have joined this part. This is the right side. So we're going to do the same thing for this side as well. And there you have it. After joining the shoulders, this is how your work should look. This is going to be the front for me, and this is the back. So you're going to turn your work to the back side, and then we're going to work on the bottom part of our top. I'm going to get my yarn, and I'm going to make a slip knot. And I'm going to just guess where the middle point is, and I'm going to place my hook right in that stitch. And this is the stitch that was a front post double crochet, so the next one is a back post double crochet. So I just placed my hook in there, and I'm going to attach my yarn, chain one to secure that, and then I'm going to make a chain of 4, which is going to count as 1 double crochet and a chain 1. 1 2 3 4, and then you're going to yarn over, and into that same space I'm going to make a double crochet. So you'll have this chain 1, then you're going to skip a stitch, and on top of the next you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet in that same stitch. Do your best to keep it loose, don't make it too tight. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and on top of the next you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet in that same stitch. And that is going to be the pattern for this row. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and on top of the next you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, like that. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and on top of the next you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet in the same stitch. I'm going to repeat that all the way around. I'm now working towards the end. I've already chained 1 here, so I'm going to yarn over, skip 1 stitch, and on top of the next I'm going to make a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet, like so. Chain 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, like that. Chain 1 2 3 and 4, turn your work. We're going to make our 1 more row of increase, and then we'll stop at that. We'll stop making increases. So you're going to yarn over, and on top of that same stitch where the chain is coming out of, we're going to make a double crochet into that same stitch, chain 1. Then on top of the next stitch you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1. Then on top of the next you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, all in the same stitch. Okay, so we made an increase here, and then we didn't make any increase on the next stitch, and now we made 1. So you're going to chain 1, and on top of the next you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1, on top of the next, you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, like that. 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet in that same stitch. And you're going to repeat with this pattern until you get back to the end. Okay, 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. You're going to continue like that. And remember to chain 1 in between. So I have this one space left, and I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to end with 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, like that. And we're going to have this. This is how your work should be looking, and as you can see, we already have our ruffles right here. So to start our next row is going to be different. We are done making increases, so you're going to chain 1 2 3 and 4. That is going to count as a double crochet and a chain 1. Then you're going to turn your work. So after every row we turn our work. So you're going to turn your work, then you're going to yarn over, and on top of this first stitch, this next stitch right here, you're going to place there a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, and you're going to repeat this all the way around, making 1 double crochet on top of every stitch, separated with a chain 1. I'm at the end of my row and I've chained 1, so I'm going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain to complete the row. You should have this. So the row we just completed is what we're going to repeat. So chain 4 and turn your work, yarn over, and you're going to make a double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch, and you're going to keep repeating that pattern until you have enough length. This row is what we're going to repeat. So once you get to the end here, you're going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, and then you're going to chain 4, turn your work, and repeat that pattern over and over until you have the length that you want. All right, I'm going to do the rest off camera. I'll be back once I'm done. So this is how my top looks after adding this mesh row. I made a total of 5 rows. You can make more rows if you wish. You can even turn it into a dress, yeah, by making more rows. And so far my whole top is before the ruffles it measured about 15 inches, and now with the ruffles it's about 18.5 inches long. So you can make as many rows as you wish. Next we're going to be making the sleeves, and to do that we're going to make a slip knot, and we're going to make a chain in an odd number. So any chain that's in an odd number will do. I'm going to make a chain of 47, so I'm going to go ahead and make the chain, then I'll be back to show you what to do next. So I'm done making my chain of 47. So just make sure that the chain, this length, this chain we have made is this is how wide my sleeve is going to be. So when folded like this, it should be able to fit around the biggest part of your arm. We are now going to start our first row. To start our first row, you're going to yarn over and skip one. You're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th, you're going to make a double crochet. So I'm going to be working in the back bumps of my chain, like turn your chain like so, and I'm going to be working through these bumps. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 5th, I'm going to make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, into the next, make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and into the next, double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, and into the next, make a double crochet, and you're going to keep going like that until you get to the end of the row. So I'm at the end of my row and I have 2 chains left, so I'm going to skip this next one, and into the last I'm going to make a double crochet, and that completes the end of my first row. Row 2, you're going to chain 4, turn your work. The chain 4 is going to count as a double crochet and a chain 1. Then you're going to yarn over, and on top of this next stitch you're going to make a double crochet. So insert your hook and make a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next chain 1, and on top of the next double crochet you're going to make a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet from the previous row, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the end of the row. So I have this one last chain left, and I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make a double crochet right on top of the 3rd chain. So this here is the chain that we have in between, if you can see it. So this is the 3rd chain. I'm going to place there a double crochet to complete my 2nd row, and your work should be looking like this at this point. Row 3, we're going to repeat row 2, chain 4, turn your work, yarn over and double crochet on top of the next double crochet from the previous row, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next double crochet, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the end of the row. Chain 1, double crochet on top of the next, chain 1, double crochet on top of the next stitch. I'm now working towards the end, and I'm going to end with a double crochet right on top of this 3rd stitch right here, double crochet, and this is what you should be having. So you're going to repeat row 2 and 3 until you have enough length for your sleeve. I'll go ahead and do the rest off camera, and then I'll be back once I have my 2 sleeves done. So you're going to make your first panel and then make the 2nd one for your 2nd sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and do mine. I'll be back with my 2 panels completed. Here is my one sleeve, guys. I have 31 rows completed here, and I'm going to show you guys how long my sleeve is. It is 19 inches long and it's about 10.5 inches wide. So now we're going to fold it like so, and then we're going to join this part. Okay, so I'm going to start from this side going all the way to this other side. So you're going to get your thread and yarn, or you can use a hook and make single crochet around it, but I'm going to use this, and I'm going to start from right here around the corner. So I'm inserting my hook into this first stitch and then the chain that's on the other side, then pulling through my yarn. I'm going to tie a knot right here. Okay, so joining is all up to you. You can use any other method that you prefer. I'm going to be using this method. Okay. Then I'm going back through that same space. And then I'm going to pull through. Okay, I'll try to go over this one and see. So I'm just pulling a little bit of the stitch. All right, I'm going to keep going like that until I get to the end. So I'll be back once I'm done with the joining. Here I have my 2 sleeves completed, and this is how they look. The next thing we're going to do is attach them to the top. So get your top and you're going to align it very well with the sleeves as I'll be showing you, and then we're going to get our darning needle to join this. I quickly went ahead and joined my one sleeve, so we're going to join the second one together. So you need your work to be on the right side, okay? So we're going to attach this one, and to do that you're going to need about 2 or 3 stitch markers. So to attach the sleeve to the top, you're going to get this part that this is where we joined from. This is the same line, so you're going to align that to the top, right under the armpits part. That's where you're going to align it to. Get the stitch marker and place it there to mark the center of the top. And then I'm going to count 4 rows of mesh, and then I'm going to align that with the sleeve as well. I'm not stretching anything, I'm just doing it as it is, and I'm going to place there a stitch marker as well. Okay, so now we have marked the one side of the sleeve, and we have to do the same thing on the other side of the top. Align the sleeve very well and count 4 rows on the other side. And I'm going to start joining from this point to the orange stitch marker. Okay, so this is the part that I'm going to be joining. So I'm getting my darning needle here. I already put the thread through, and I'm going to go through the stitches, and I'm going to tie a knot first here to secure the yarn. So I'm going through the stitches and joining them, as you can see. So you can use any other method that you like to do for this part. So since the yarn is kind of different, you can easily see where it's passing. But if you use one color, it should be perfectly fine, and you won't be able to see exactly. I mean, somebody else won't be able to see where you joined from and stuff like that. So I'm going to continue joining like this. I won't be doing anything different. I'm going to keep going until I get to the last stitch marker. So after joining this the sleeve, you're going to weave in your ends, and this is me here joining my leftover tail and making sure that everything is secured. And then here I'm going to cut off the yarn, cut off the strands, and there you should be done with the joining. So this is how it looks. And since I already attached my other sleeve, you're going to do the same thing and join the second sleeve, and after that, this is how your work should be looking. And last, you're going to make a chain long enough to go around your waist. Then you're going to get your darning needle and you're going to pull it through around the first row of double crochets that we made. You don't have to add the chain if you don't want to, so it's all up to you guys. So just pull it through that first row that we made, the row of front and back post double crochets, and I'm going through 2 stitches at a time, and I'm going to keep going until I pull the chain all the way around. And there you have it, guys, and this is what we had for today. So after tying the chain, for me, I tied it from the inside. That's why you couldn't see the chain, you know, the knots on in the pictures, but I tied it from the inside. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.